If you've been craving the soft and bouncy Castella cake you remember from Japan, then today's your day. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the sweet golden top sponge with simple ingredients and an unforgettable soft yet chewy texture. Let's get started. For a printable version of this recipe, visit my website. You can Google Castella Sudachi to find me. Now, before we start, we're going to take 4 refrigerated eggs and separate them while they're still cold. I'm using large eggs which weigh about 50 to 60 each without the shell. The yolks are more delicate at room temperature, so I find chilled eggs separate more easily without breaking. In this recipe, you will need 4 yolks and 3 whites, so save that leftover white for another recipe. I tried to use the biggest eggs in the pack, but the average white is about 35 grams and the yolks are approximately 15 grams each. So if you want to be exact, this recipe uses at least 105 grams of egg whites and 60 grams of egg yolks. You can go a few grams over, but don't go under that. Cover them and bring them to room temperature for about 30 minutes. In the meantime, let's line our cake pan. I'm using a 18cm square pan which is about 7 inches. Cut 2 pieces of baking paper and lay them in opposite directions with the edges overlapping so it's easy to lift the cake out later. One of my favorite parts of Castella cake is the classic crunchy sugar base, so sprinkle about 1 tablespoon of coarse sugar into the pan. This is zarame in Japanese or turbinado sugar in English. I also like to sift my flour beforehand, so sift 100 grams of bread flour and 20 grams of cake flour into a large bowl. Many Castella recipes stick with only bread flour for the chewy texture, but I like to add a little bit of cake flour to make it a bit lighter. Once it's sifted, set aside for later. When your eggs are no longer chilled, start preheating your oven to 180 degrees Celsius. While it heats up, we can make the cake batter. Grab the egg whites and whip them on a low or medium-low speed to help create stable micro bubbles. I find a glass bowl works best for this. Once it's foamy and doubled in size, start adding 120 grams of white caster sugar, about 1/3 at a time. Make sure it's fully incorporated before adding the next part. Adding too much sugar at once can prevent the egg from reaching its full volume potential. A little at a time ensures stability. This cake doesn't use any chemical rising agents like baking powder or baking soda, so the rise is completely relying on these eggs. Once all of your sugar is added, you can increase the speed to medium or medium-high. We're looking for stiff peaks, so we need to whip just the right amount. Too little and your cake will rise, too much and it will collapse. Keep whipping until your meringue has strong silky peaks that stand up straight like this. Next, we're going to add our yolks one at a time and whip on low for about 5 to 10 seconds each. Keep in mind that Japanese egg yolks are very orange, so if you're not using Japanese eggs, your batter might look a little paler than this. Add 40 grams of honey and give it a final whip for 10 seconds. Now it's time to switch to a spatula and sift in our flour. We're adding this 1/3 at a time to prevent overmixing, and gently incorporating it with a spatula will ensure we don't deflate those precious air bubbles in the meringue. Gently mix until there are no more dry lumps or pockets of flour. Okay, next grab a small bowl and add 30 ml of whole milk and 30 ml of cooking oil. Then we're going to add a few tablespoons of the batter to the bowl and whisk until combined. We'll lose a bit of air here, but that's okay. This step makes it easier to incorporate the milk and oil into the rest of the batter without overmixing. Okay, pour the mixture into the batter and gently fold it in until the texture is uniform all the way through. It should be thick and smooth like this. Now you can pour it into the lined cake pan and smooth out the top. Then use a wooden skewer or chopstick to draw lines across the top Draw horizontally, then vertically, then drop it on the counter to pop any large air bubbles and place it on the top shelf of your preheated oven. Set timer for 1 minute. Then take it out and draw a line in both directions again. Return it to the oven and set the 1 minute timer again. We're going to repeat this twice more, 3 times in total. After the final draw, move the cake to the middle shelf and reduce the temperature to 160 degrees Celsius. Bake for about 30 minutes. I like to check the condition around the 25-minute mark. When you take it out, drop it on the counter and then let it rest for a few minutes before carefully using the overlapping baking parchment to lift it from the pan. My oven runs hot, so this only took 28 minutes, but it can vary depending on the size and efficiency of your oven. Wait until it's cool enough to handle, then wrap it with plastic wrap while it's still relatively hot to trap in the moisture. For best results, grab a heat-proof airtight container and place it upside down. This will flatten any doming, giving it the iconic golden flat top. Now we just leave that for 12 hours to rest. I know it's tempting to dig straight in, but this is one of those cakes that is really worth waiting until the next day. The moisture redistributes evenly throughout the cake, the flavors intensify, and it's just all around better. Okay, it's been 12 hours and it's finally time for the reveal. Carefully peel back the plastic wrap and then trim the edges with a long sharp knife. Cut it in half, then cut into thick pieces, thick enough that it can stand tall. Wipe the knife each time for cleaner cuts. The top is quite sticky and delicate, so hold the sides rather than touching the top of the cake. And that's my homemade Castella cake recipe. Perfectly golden on the top, bouncy and soft in the center, with that irresistible honey flavor carrying through. This one is classic for a reason. Want even more delicious recipes? Grab my free cookbook from the link in the description. Okay, let's go over the ingredients one more time. And if you're ready to cook, grab the written instructions by clicking the full recipe box with a picture that's about to pop up on your screen. Want to learn every detail behind this recipe? You can find the full version and step-by-step tips on my website. Just tap the link on the screen. And for more recipes like this, head to my dessert playlist coming up on your screen. Thanks for watching.